Beyond the buzzer, inside the game, this is Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Anyway, we go. Second day of July. Glad you're with us here. Larry Smith, Sports IQ. Great show coming up. We're going to NBA free agency is underway. And boy, is it ever. We've got Jasmyn Wimbish, a veteran basketball writer, joining us, a friend of the show, to talk about not just LeBron, but also now Jaylen Brown as well. We've got a lot to talk about with her. She'll join us. And Becca Mann joining us, USA Swimming. It's summertime. Why not talk a little swimming action right now? We've got that yesterday. If you follow our show and you keep track of our moments of awe, yesterday was the anniversary of the opening of the first ever American Olympics, 1904, in St. Louis. And so there you go. Anyway, I'm working to tie it in here. No, just kidding. Anyway, looking forward to talking with her as we are 2 years away now from Los Angeles. How are things going in terms of USA Swimming, and looking ahead to the next generation of superstars to take gold medals? Hey, let's talk a little U.S. men's soccer, if you will, before we get to Jasmyn. They are giving every indication that they are going to be a very tough out in this year's World Cup. Last night in San Francisco, Folarin Balogun, just what a match he had last night, scoring his third goal of the World Series, of the World Cup, I should say, before being sent off with a red card in the second half. Malik Tillman converting on a free kick to give the 10-man U.S. squad a 2-0 win over Bosnia-Herzegovina on Wednesday as they advance to the round of 16. Balogun dominated the first half with his goal and several other chances that helped the U.S. control the match early, but the Americans had to scramble down a man after Balogun, his foul in the 64th minute, grabbing a red card. Tillman, by the way, helping seal the win when he scored that free kick just outside the box in the 82nd minute to get the victory there. So U.S. moving on, and they will now play in the round of 16 on Monday night. So elsewhere in the World Cup on Wednesday, Harry Kane scoring twice to save England from a World Cup humiliation. They survived a royal scare against Congo DR to set up a huge match with co-host Mexico in the next round. A decade from the embarrassing Euros exit to Iceland, history threatening to repeat itself as Brian Kopinga's early goal meant that the English team faced the prospect of falling at the first knockout game to an opponent they were heavily favored over. England stumbling for large periods and struggled to best inspire the Congo DR goalkeeper Lionel Messi, but the English side keeping their cool in this one and finally getting the victory in this and moving on. So they get past the round of 32 in that one. Rode their luck sometimes to get the win. It was the first time they'd won a World Cup match to get with their first goal of the match since the 1966 final. For the first 80 minutes plus, it looked like Senegal was ready to stamp their ticket to the round of 16. They led 2-0 until Belgium's all-time record scorer came through. Romelu Lukaku, he scored to make it 2-1. And then just 2 minutes and 38 seconds later, in the 89th minute of play, comes through again, the header finding the back of the net for the 2-2 tie in that one. And then in extra time, a penalty against Senegal led to the penalty kick, and then Belgium getting the spot in the next round for the round of 32. Crazy, crazy action at the World Cup.
Time now for today's moment of awe. It's one of the more bizarre moments in sports history. The day a Major League Baseball team owner and his manager were arrested because of a baseball game. You see, 109 years ago this week, back in 1917, playing baseball on Sundays was against the law in New York. So the Brooklyn Robins, later known as the Dodgers, and the Philadelphia Phillies thought they could get around that by charging admission for a military drill and charity concert and call the game an added attraction at no cost. They even shut down the box offices after the concert to be in compliance, but the police weren't fooled. The Robins beat the Phillies 3-2. Afterwards, Robins owner Charles Ebbets and manager Wilbert Robinson were arrested, though their punishment was only having to pay a fine. 15,000 in attendance on that day at Ebbets Field to see a game that had been rained out 2 days earlier and one that cost two men their freedom for a brief period. And that's our moment of awe.
You're listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Sports IQ with Larry Smith continues right now. As we have been talking about, NBA free agency opened less than 48 hours ago, and already it has been nuts, right? Joining us once again, our friend, she's a veteran basketball writer, Jasmyn Wimbish is here on the show. Jasmyn, first, we haven't talked to you since the Giannis trade, so I want to go back and get your thoughts. You and I have been talking about this for the past year. Finally, it happens, Giannis going to Miami.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like you said, we haven't talked since then, and so much has happened in the time that in the time that Giannis was traded. So I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that he was sent to Miami for Tyler Hero and a bunch of other random things. I mean, for Miami, it's Pat Riley is obviously a big game hunter and wants to go after these big name stars, and so it makes sense for them. I don't know what a roster of him and Bam Adebayo and a couple Andrew Wiggins and a couple other pieces are going to really do in the East after all of these other trades have been made in the Eastern Conference. But I mean, if anything, if for any other reason, it puts Giannis in a better position than it was in Milwaukee. He's obviously somebody that wants to contend, and I think Miami gets him a bit higher in that contention ranking. Does it make them a championship contender? To me, I don't think so. I think this is still an incomplete roster. And when you look at the landscape of the rest of the East, after all of the moves that have happened in the last 48 hours, it kind of pushes them further down the totem pole there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing we talked about as well, Miami giving up these future first round picks. I see this as somebody, and I have great respect for Pat Riley. I'm a big fan of his, going back to Laker days, 45 years ago. Hang on, 40 years ago. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But for me, it's almost like, look, Pat Riley, there's a very strong chance he's not going to be the president of the Miami Heat come 2032, right? I mean, I think he's like 81 years old, 82. So to me, it's almost like I see this as for him, here's my last shot. I'm taking putting all the chips in, and in the next 2 years trying to win a title. The same way he did when he acquired Shaq back in the day, and later acquired LeBron. Now this is like kind of the third iteration of that approach.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's similar to, not to jump ahead, but what Rob Pelinka is doing in LA is similar to, he's trading picks that he's probably not going to be around for, but for very different reasons. I don't think it's going to be retirement. It might be, he might be relieved of his duties.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's, all in, pushing all your chips into the middle of the table sort of thing. And, it'll be interesting to see how this roster shakes out over the rest of the offseason. And if Miami has any other moves up their sleeves, any other small trades to tinker with the roster on the edges. But I mean, as is, a front court of Giannis and Bam is pretty intimidating, but, you're kind of relying a lot on those two guys and nothing else to really get you across the finish line. And I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Yeah, you're right. Let's change coast now. Go over to the Lakers. The big story Tuesday. And the first thing in the morning, LeBron making the announcement that he will not return to the Lakers after 8 seasons. Going to become a free agent. Obviously, there's a lot of buzz out there. Were you surprised by this move? There was some chatter that he might do this, but what was your initial thought?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I think, over the last 2 years, it's kind of been, the writing's been on the wall with LeBron's tenure with the Lakers. And I think this is kind of what everyone expected to happen. I think it was either he was going to leave the Lakers and go elsewhere, or, he was going to retire. I didn't really think he was going to retire because LeBron is certainly not the type of person who's just going to walk quietly into the night. Right. He's going to be, as soon as, the announcement was made, he's letting the Lakers move on without him. 24 hours later, there were reports that, he might be planning on a whole documentary series for his final season. I'm like, that's the LeBron James I know.
Exactly.
So it's not surprising that his time with the Lakers is coming to an end. It's fascinating for the first time in LeBron's career, this is probably his 5th time being a free agent. And the, attention around him is, the least it's been in any of the last times he was a free agent. So, he's not the number one player on the market available. And so that's an interesting thing to watch because all these other teams are making moves elsewhere, when the LeBron James free, whereas like 5 years ago, if LeBron James was a free agent, everyone would be trying to clear cap space and trying to get him on the team. And this is very different. There's reports that he would sign for the veteran minimum because he wants to go somewhere where he can contend for a championship, somewhere that makes him happy. Not so much about the money. So it'll be interesting. I know that, Cleveland has been mentioned many times. Golden State Warriors are the other team. I think those are probably the two teams that can make this happen for him.
And you're exactly right. I've been saying all along that LeBron, I don't know of any athlete in my career covering sports that plays to the cameras more than LeBron.
Right.
I mean, and that's not a knock. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, I'm not trying to be nasty, just an honest observation. And I was there at his very first press conference for his first summer league game in Orlando back in 2003, and an 18-year-old LeBron conducted his own news conference. I mean, it was at a utility table with a folding chair and no one else around, and he's pointing out reporters. I mean, I just was. So I admire that he can handle the cameras like that. It's not so much a put down, but you're right that it is a different thing. And if the fact that LeBron would be willing to play for the minimum, something he has not done anywhere else. He's never taken a pay cut. I think there's a year or two maybe that Anthony Davis made more money, but otherwise he's always, no matter where it is, he's had to be the top dog. And so I think also maybe it's a bit of a change in his philosophy in terms of, like you said, willing to actually to sacrifice for once. Financially, because he's got money. It's not like there's you're not gonna risk not paying the light bill to go someplace, like you said, that he's happy and can win one more ring.
Yeah, I think the storybook ending here would be him going to Cleveland, seeing if he can win that doesn't guarantee them a championship anywhere he goes. It's not going to guarantee that team a championship, but him ending his career in Cleveland, if he's planning on shooting a documentary about it, all of the fanfare, all of the marketing that you get out of going to Cleveland, to me, is a very smart business-minded move for him to make. So if that he's thinking in that terms at all, then that makes sense. And for Cleveland, I think it does help them. This is a team that has struggled to get over the hump, and back-to-back years, they've 2 years ago they finished top of the East, and then they completely just burnt out in the playoffs. And this year, another disappointing loss. So LeBron is still somebody who he's not, prime shape or, prime abilities, rather. He's certainly in prime shape, but he's not somebody who's going to, come in and be the number one scorer on the team, but he's somebody who can still get you quality minutes, quality production on a night-to-night basis. And I think that's a benefit for Cleveland. I mean, we saw how many times James Harden struggled in the playoffs. He did it again this year. You insert LeBron into the lineup, James Harden immediately probably becomes your third best player, maybe fourth if you really like Evan Mobley that much. So I think him fitting on Cleveland makes some sense. I just don't know how far that team can get in the Eastern Conference now.
And that's my other question, I guess. Of course, LeBron going to take less money, but number one, financially, where's the best fit right now? Would he fit into Cleveland? Could they afford him with the way things are structured? And then number two, what is a LeBron James today in 2026? What does he bring to a team? Look, he's one of the greatest of all time.
Right.
If he becomes the first to win a fourth title, I mean, that's history. All-time leading scorer, all the accolades, no question. But in real terms on the court, what does a LeBron today bring you that, to your point, would not have brought you 8 years ago?
Yeah, I think now, and we saw a little bit of it with the Lakers, when Luka got healthy, when Austin Reeves was healthy, he was kind of the third option on that team. He's turned into more of a facilitator. He can, get you 25, 30 points, once every couple of games, but he's not the guy who you should be relying on to get that consistent level of production. But he is somebody who still, garners a lot of defensive attention. And so it's going to open guys up like Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley. So he's a magnet for other defenders to kind of swarm to him, and then he can kick it out to somebody, and hopefully those guys are making their shots. And so I think you're using him kind of as like a secret weapon or kind of a distraction so that your other guys can kind of get going, because you don't want him being, oh, this is our number one guy, the offense is going to run through LeBron. That's not how he should be utilized now. So I think it makes sense to me in Cleveland. In Golden State, I think that the nostalgia of him and Steph Curry playing together would be insane to watch, but the fit there also kind of doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Also, LeBron has never played for a veteran head coach since Paul Silas in his second season. But again, he may have a different tact now, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so he's leaving the Lakers, and you see what the moves that they made on Wednesday. It feels like, and I guess for me, and correct me, because I'm not saying this is correct, it's just my opinion, and I know I could be wrong. It seems like that if the Lakers knew LeBron was leaving, maybe they could have made a bigger push for Giannis. Or does he fit with in terms of what you gave up? Yeah. Would Giannis have fit on these Lakers? Are these the moves they planned? I mean, correct me in terms of the Lakers moving on from LeBron.
Yeah, no, I think that I didn't even, again, Giannis happened so long ago that I'm like, oh yeah, that totally could have happened. Yeah, I think, it depends on when they knew LeBron was leaving. I think I'm sure they had an inkling weeks ago. They had that press release ready to go. But yeah, given what they just gave up for Walker Kessler, there are only 2 tradable first round picks, 2 more first round pick swaps. Like, they can't trade a first round pick until, I don't know, for like 10 years or something absurd.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, for your first couple of moves after the LeBron era is over, to be going to get Walker Kessler, signing Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, and this is no knock to any of those players. Walker Kessler
Right.
is a really good young center. He's somebody who, if you're thinking in terms of fit with Luka Dončić, he's, somebody who's going to run the pick and roll probably into the ground. He can catch lobs, dunk it. He's a big guy. He can defend. He's going to help with, what is now an incredibly weak defensive backcourt of Luka and Austin Reeves now that Marcus Smart is in Houston. So I think, Walker Kessler being on the Lakers, I think is a good get. They needed a center. Luka wanted somebody who he can run pick and rolls with. The amount that you paid for him is completely overpay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think if you're thinking in the terms of, well, could they have gotten Giannis? Absolutely. And I think Giannis pairing with Luka is something that I know Giannis has talked about, how he would love to play with Luka eventually when he was in Dallas. So yeah, I think he would have fit wonderfully on that team, but I think this is an indictment on kind of Rob Pelinka's line of thinking and kind of how he's masterminding this whole thing. And that's what I mean by he's trading picks that he probably won't be here to even make those selections for. So, because if this goes poorly and Luka could opt out of his contract in 2028 and the Lakers are no closer to building a contender around him, they are in trouble to not have Luka Dončić or be in the Luka Dončić business anymore past that date.
Yeah, it's true. And we got to keep in mind as well, new ownership there. It's no longer the Buss family. So it's a new way of doing things, not the way they've done the last, now I'll go 40, 50 years. Now I'll get the 50 years. Other surprises or anything you're looking forward to here? Again, like you said, so much has already happened. I'm sorry. I can't move on. Jaylen Brown.
Right.
We didn't get Jaylen Brown. Your thoughts on this? Not so much moved, but to move to the Sixers is what really surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that the Celtics moved him at all. I think it is a completely short-sighted decision for them to move Jaylen Brown because I get trading him for Giannis. I get that. Giannis is the better player. He probably elevates them. He certainly elevates them defensively, and they've been wanting a big man to kind of help them in that regard. And so, I know that there were reports about, if they don't trade him for Giannis, they want another, Giannis caliber player. In my mind, I'm like, okay, well, the likelihood of that happening is 0.
Right.
For them to trade him for like a 35-year-old Paul George.
Right.
It's baffling to me. I don't understand what Brad Stevens is doing. And, it has to be more than just, the reports are Jaylen Brown didn't request a trade. So it's not like he wanted out of Boston. And he said on numerous occasions how he would love to play the rest of his career there. So I'm not really sure what Boston's line of thinking is, especially because this isn't a situation where, Tatum and Brown couldn't get past the finish line. They gave you a championship. You know that this duo can work. So I'm not really sure why all of a sudden, especially after a season that Jaylen Brown, finished in the top 5 of MVP voting, led this team to a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference without Jason Tatum. You're getting Tatum back healthy now, and now you just completely blow up the team for a 35-year-old Paul George that you think is going to get you to a better position. That makes no sense to me. And then, to trade him to one of your rivals, a team that just beat you in the playoffs, makes absolutely 0 sense. Now you look at the Sixers, and you're like, wow, okay, well, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown. That is an impressive squad there. And Boston is looking like the team that, is lucky they're lucky if they make the play-in next season. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, okay. Good to talk with you about this. Good to get your insight to know that I'm not completely off my rocker because you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Well, listen, it's a crazy summer just about to begin. So hopefully we can find you a spot on your schedule here in the coming weeks to discuss more moves on the way. But like you said, already a very busy start to the season.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, Jasmyn. Thanks. Hey, happy 4th. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks so much. Jasmyn Wimbish joining us right now. Again, veteran basketball writer. She's so good, so good. Be sure to give her a follow and check out her stuff. We always love having your insights. Okay, Sports IQ continues after this.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
Call 855-826-7932. 855-826-7932. That's 855-826-7932.
Are you tired of your website making your business look bad? Is your current web developer dropping the ball? Let's face it, if your website isn't making you money, it's broken. Let Neon Rain create a website that turns your visitors into customers. Neon Rain has worked with hundreds of businesses across North America, building custom websites and applications with modern designs that are easy to update and work well on mobile devices. They can do it for you too. What sets Neon Rain apart? They actually deliver on their promises. Call today for a free consultation, 303-957-3092. That's Neon Rain at 303-957-3092. Or visit them at neonrain.com.
You're locked in to Sports IQ with Larry Smith.
Welcome back here, Sports IQ, Larry Smith. We have some other headlines before we get a chance to talk with Becca here in just a few moments. How about a little tennis? Wimbledon earlier today. The American Taylor Fritz, the 6th seed on the men's side, advancing with a straight set win over fellow Yank, Patrick Cripson. Wednesday on the men's side, really an easy day overall for the top 10 as everyone advanced. This number 1 seed, Jannik Sinner, also the 7th seed, Novak Djokovic, also was in play as well. Medvedev, Kaboli also all advancing. On the women's side, the 4 seed, Jessica Pegula advancing in straight sets, while 7 seed Coco Gauff needing 3 sets, including the tiebreak in the 3rd to make it to the next round. The top seed, Aryna Sabalenka, no problems with American McCartney Kessler in that 6-1, 7-6 victory. Free agency and the trade frenzy continues in both the NBA and NHL. How about Jaylen Brown, the new home? Boston sending the former NBA Finals MVP to the Philadelphia 76ers in a blockbuster trade. That's all according to ESPN. The Sixers sending Paul George 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031 and 2 second-round picks in 2028 and 2030 to Boston to complete this deal. Now, the LA Lakers moving quickly to spend that newfound money as soon as LeBron James said that he was moving on. You know, he made like $51 million last year. Well, sources again telling ESPN's at Shams that the Lakers acquiring Walker Kessler from Utah for unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 33, first-round swaps in 2028 and 2030. Now, Kessler, one of the NBA's premier shot blockers and rebounders, will now sign a 4-year, $130 million deal with the Lakers. The deal includes a player option for the 4th season and a full trade kicker as well, all according to sources. Now, remember that Kessler had just turned down last week a new deal with Utah for 5 years, $140 million. If you are a longtime NBA fan, you recall that his uncle, the late Alec Kessler, played for Miami for a few years. His dad was a basketball player, his brother, but man, Walker has really done this. I got to be honest, personal story. I used to watch him play in high school, Woodward Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. It's amazing to see this kid, what he has done. Played all but 5 games last season due to shoulder surgery. But again, he will come in. Some other players as well. Boy, that name I'm always going to mess up. Sandro Bakumashvili. I believe he played for Seton Hall. I've always messed his name up. Anyway, free agent deal. The Lakers have signed him as well as Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton as well. NHL world, meanwhile, 2-time Cup champion Sergei Bobrovsky is moving on from the Florida Panthers, inking a 2-year free agent deal with Toronto on Wednesday. Bobrovsky is one of the best goalies in the world, but he is coming off one of his worst seasons of his career at age 37. But then again, these are the Leafs, and they've been looking for solid goaltending, well, pretty much since the 70s, let's be honest. Rasmus Anderson also re-signing with the Vegas Golden Knights. In spite of a disappointing playoff run with the Golden Knights, he still got a hefty 7-year, $59.5 million contract. Vegas banking on a bounce back from Anderson, who slots into the top 4 on the blue line. All right, stay with us. Much more to come up. We've got, one more note. Let's get along. We didn't mention the baseball. I want to get to baseball before because it just was a crazy scene. The Cubs getting the win, 23-2 over San Diego on Wednesday. And the hottest hitter in baseball right now is Dansby Swanson of the Cubs. He hit 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Michael Conforto homered twice in that 23-run outburst. Swanson a career high 8 RBIs, second most in Major League history from a player batting 9th, by the way. Seiya Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, also all homered for the Cubs. They scored their most runs in a home game since 1977. Swanson, who hit 2 home runs on Tuesday, became the first Cub with back-to-back multi-homer games since Patrick Wisdom did it back in August of 2021. He has 9 home runs now and 29 runs batted in over the past 13 games. Want to definitely get that in because that is one of the crazier scenes in baseball. 23 runs by the Cubs. Save some of those for next time. All right, our conversation continues next. Welcome back here to the show. Glad you're still with us here. Hard to believe that we are just, as we mentioned at the top of the show, a couple years away from 2028, the LA Games. We're fresh off the anniversary of the first American Games beginning in St. Louis, 1904. Yes. I'm a historian. I can't help it. Becca Mann joining us right now. She's a pro swimmer with the USA Swimming national team member, I should say. And she is all over the place. By the way, she doesn't swim all over the place. She flies and she swims when she gets there. Becca, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, let's talk about just in terms of 2028. It's 2 years off, but again, in the world of swimming, the world of the Olympics, the world of amateur competition, if you will, that's really not that far away.
Yeah, it's coming up close, and 2 years goes by so fast. I mean, the 4-year quad does. So we're really ramping up. There's only one more World Championships before the Olympic year, so
wow.
It's definitely getting close.
Yeah. Obviously we've had, the USA and swimming, we are the best swimmers in the world. Michael Phelps, Katie Ledecky lately. But we've had some world records fall here just recently by this next wave of superstars.
Yes. And it's been really fascinating to see our sprinting, the US sprinting right now is incredible. And it's just world record after world record. Amazing time after amazing time. And a lot of it is coming out of UVA. A lot of these athletes like Kate Douglas, Gretchen Walsh, who both just broke the world record in the 50 free. Now Gretchen Walsh has it. They train together every day. And I think it's really cool when athletes can train together, push each other on a daily basis. It shows how important your training environment is.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that in terms of the two setting the world record. So Katie sets it first, right? And then a few days later, Gretchen takes over. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so Kate got it in Indianapolis, I think 9 days before Gretchen rebroke it. And Gretchen was actually racing Kate when Kate broke it. So, but then Gretchen went to a meet in Rome and got it a few days later. So it's always Kate is primarily, she's a freestyler, but she's also a breaststroker. She has incredible range. And same with Gretchen Walsh. Her butterfly is her main stroke, and yet she's still breaking this 50 free world record. So it's great to see some versatility amongst athletes, because it's always fun when you get to swim more than one event at a swim meet, and then you get to see your favorite athletes compete more than once. Yeah,
and they compete together. Do you know what that conversation has been like with the two, teammates? I'm sure friends and competitors both winning the world record, setting the world record in the same summer?
Well, I'm a distance swimmer, so I don't train with them. They're both fantastic people. I'm not exactly sure what they've been saying to each other, but I think that they're good friends. So I'm sure that there's lots of great, friendly, competitive conversations, I should say, going on.
Right. Exactly. So you mentioned there was just one more world championship to come before we get to the Olympic qualifiers and that kind of thing. How did things change in the sport and within the organization as we get now to within 24 months of an Olympic Games?
I think that a lot of things that are changing is athletes are getting really focused. So we have Pan Pacs in a few months, which is like the regional, every fourth year is Pan Pacs, and then World Championships is the year before and after the Olympics. So we have Pan Pacs in just a few months, and that for the pool team qualified a year ago. So we get to see some athletes race who we haven't seen like race tapered in a while. But also like with these 2 years, we're about to see a lot of young athletes, up and coming, go some fantastic times. We're going to see people that we haven't seen that we've never seen on the world stage before. And that's what I really look forward to in the lead up to the Olympics, is watching to see like what random 16-year-old throws down a world record. And I think that that's like the fun leading up to the Olympics. In terms of USA Swimming, I think that it's just going to be getting really focused and making sure that they're doing their best to prepare the athletes.
Yeah, we've seen so many young athletes come on like that. Michael Phelps, way back. I mean, what was it? I think Sydney was his coming out party, and then of course Athens and Beijing, and London. And then Katie Ledecky here lately. Is there that kind of that next young teenager who may be coming up and about to make a big splash, if you will, in 2028?
There are three that I can think of on the women's side. So there's Audrey Derivo, who is a 400 IMer, 200 flyer. She's actually very versatile. She's 16, and she was in a lot of finals in 2024 Olympic trials, and she's just continued to get better and better and better. So it's been really fun watching her. And then there's Riley Arisman, who's a sprinter, and she's already making international teams. She is a 100 freestyler, 200 freestyle, does that sprint stuff. I mean, she's going to be, I think, a key relay player and probably also like individual event athlete in 2028. Like, what year is it? And then the other one is an athlete who I train with now. Her name is Brinkley Hansen, and she right now is ranked the highest for open water athletes.
Okay. You mentioned a moment ago that both swimmers, Douglas and Walsh, are with the Virginia program. The best training programs, as you know, have been West Coast and Florida, but Virginia now on center stage. What's going on with that program?
They're a sprint-based program. So again, like I don't know a ton about their training just because I swim the 10K, so I'm like opposite end of the spectrum.
Right.
But all of the great sprinters are flocking there, and every time a new one like transfers over there and goes to train there, they get so fast. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something right. That's for sure. And I think that Caleb Gressel is also training there right now.
Is another one's there. I know back, and I'm dating myself, going back to, kind of the early 90s, and it was a lot of the Pac-10 and later Pac-12, USC, Stanford, the Olympic sports out there. They stopped funding those. They went away. That's not as big of a priority for those schools. Did that? I'm assuming that opened the door for other programs to step in and fill the void.
I believe so. I know that like right now it seems like a lot of pro groups are like intermingling with the college teams. So like there's a great pro group in Texas with Bob Bowman, and their pro group I think is often like swimming with the college swimmers. So I think that like a lot of different college programs have kind of taken on a pro group. I think it's the same with UVA.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say you're a young swimmer, 10 to 12 age range. You want to have a shot at an Olympic team. What kind of training would that young person need to have a shot at an Olympics? I mean, what does that look like?
So that's actually a really good question, because I've actually been talking about this with some of my friends, when to start doing doubles. I don't think that like 10 to 12-year-olds need to be doing dry land yet. They don't need to be lifting. They don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. But how much water time should you be getting? I think that like 10, it should definitely be technique focused, because getting like a great base for your technique and making sure that all of your strokes are as efficient as possible, I think that is probably the number one priority. 12, I think you should definitely be doing doubles by then, and, training. If you want to make an Olympic team by the time you're 15, then training 4 hours a day. But also, like, you want to be a kid, so maybe you can just be swimming for 2 hours and going a little bit later. I think that especially endurance athletes actually peak a lot later than we originally are taught to, than what I was taught to believe. Open water swimmers are peaking like in their early 30s. So wow. It's been really interesting to see that, because the reason that there haven't been a lot of athletes let me rephrase that. Athletes retire after college because there isn't like a financial incentive to keep swimming. And now that like some athletes are able to find a way to do that, and we're able to see their careers go into their 30s, we're seeing them perform better than ever, the older that they are.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You've mentioned again, as we're talking with Becca Mann, she's again a member of the U.S. swimming national team. You've mentioned in terms, again, you're an endurance swimmer. How is the training different for you than maybe some of the short sprint stuff in the pool?
I think it's very different. It definitely is very different outside of the pool. Like, I don't do much dry land at all. I don't do much lifting. Only like twice a week. I'm doing things outside of the pool. And then other than that, I'm swimming like 15 kilometers a day. While sprinters are probably swimming like, I actually don't even know, like honestly, probably 6 kilometers or less a day. I could be totally wrong, but they're probably doing like a lot of power and resistance training while I'm doing, I'm putting my miles in.
Yeah, well, there's resistance going in open water, as you were saying. We were talking about this before we came on, about the open water swimming. Tell us about that and what that looks like in the Olympics.
So the distance is the 10 kilometer. It's the marathon of swimming. And what I love about it is that it's so unpredictable that you just have to be able to adapt to everything. You don't know if you're going to get big waves. You don't know if you're going to get a smooth course. You don't know if the buoys are going to be on course. You don't know what the water temp is going to be. You just have to be prepared for anything. And there are no lane lines. So a lot of it's a drafting race. And when you're drafting and there are like 40 athletes all swimming in the same line, trying to get to the same place, it can get a little bit violent, and there's a lot of contact. So a lot of it, you have to be very strategic and think about how you're spending your energy, because if people break away and you miss the draft, it's going to be really hard to catch up. So wow, lots of thinking goes on in the 10K.
Wow. And you were saying that there's actually some talk about maybe not having this in the Olympics after LA. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the IOC has been thinking about cutting sports for Brisbane 2032, and open water is one of the sports that they're considering cutting. I think that would be such a big mistake. I think that it can definitely be marketed better. There needs to be like more advanced technology, which I think it's a very simple solution, just like getting some better cameras and maybe like putting some different caps on the swimmers to distinguish them better and marketing it a little bit more. But it's such a fascinating race because there's so much going on. And I mean, if you get a camera that can pick up on like all of the small things that are going on between the athletes, like who's flicking who in the face and who's taking a different line and leaving the draft and trying to forge their own path, I think that viewers would be so enthralled with it, because it's a very dynamic sport and it's the rawest form of swimming too. I mean, the Olympics started in open water, and I would hate to see that taken away.
Yeah. You think with drone technology, with the videos, we saw this at the Winter Games just recently. It would be fantastic to have that kind of technology to bring that to life. I'm curious, it's one thing to swim short sprints, but you're swimming a 10K. What goes on in the water? What do you think about? How do you stay focused during that time? That's a long time.
It's actually so easy to stay focused because there are people all around you. Everybody wants the spot that you're in. And if they don't want the spot that you're in, then you want somebody else's spot. So you're always thinking about where to maneuver and where to get into the spot to put you in the best position for the sprint at the end when everybody's going into the finish structure. Because a lot of these races, I mean, they're 2-hour races, but oftentimes like it comes down to the touch just because of the draft and how hard it is to break away.
Wow. I'm fascinated by this because it's one thing. And I think, my experience is going out to the beach and just watching folks just swim here, and I can see them. But 10K is a long time to go through and do this. And you were saying that things in the water, flicking people in the faces, very physical. Tell us about some of the things that we don't see under the water.
So you don't see a lot of like the elbows getting thrown. You don't see, I mean, sometimes you have very murky water, so you don't even see the elbows getting thrown until it's in your ribs. But you don't see like a lot of just the politics of the pack, as I like to say, because I mean, you know your competitors and you know how they race. Like right now, the best open water swimmer in the world right now she's an Australian swimmer named Moesha Johnson, and she takes the race out so fast and she can hold on. So she's kind of like reinvented the race in a way where she's now starting out at a sprint and you know that she can hold that the whole way. So it's kind of like, oh, I just need to stay in that draft for as long as I can. And if you can do that, then you know that you're going to be in a good position at the end. While like the men's race right now, there's really like, there are about 10 athletes who can all win the race. They're all capable of it. It's just a matter of who plays the race the smartest.
Wow. Okay, I've got about a minute left. I got to ask, how did you get started and what's the thrill for you in the open water swimming?
So I got started through my parents putting me in triathlons because they were doing triathlons. And then instead of like getting somebody to watch me and my sisters, they just made us do it too. That was like how I was exposed. And what I love about it is that it's such an adventure and it's very thrilling. And every single race is so different that you really just feel so alive because you know what you're getting into, but you also don't know what you're getting into. And it really tests your character and brings new like pieces of your personality to life.
I'm going to write this down. This is a first. Becca Mann got into swimming because they didn't have a babysitter.
They didn't want to get one.
Right. They were too frugal. They didn't want, I'm going to spend it. Why spend money to have it? We'll watch you.
It wasn't even a frugal thing. It was more like, they'll come along. Let's put them in.
That's great. Now, are your siblings still involved? Are they still swimmers?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
My older one's a doctor. My younger one's a consultant, but yeah, they did it for a while.
It's awesome.
I'm the only one who stuck with it.
Gotcha. Well, Becca, listen, this has been just a great conversation. We really appreciate your insights on USA Swimming, also on open water, learning a lot about that. And hopefully the IOC keeps that around. And I'll be paying more attention here in 2028. I've watched, but not to the same degree. And so now I'm definitely going to be watching for you as well. So
thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Becca, thanks. Hey, happy 4th. Have a great 4th weekend.
Thank you too. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. You got it. Yeah, Becca Mann joining us. Again, getting some insights right now in the swimming game. She is a team member of the USA Swimming National Team. Getting ready. Looking forward to 2028 in LA. We can't wait. All right, more Sports IQ coming up. Stay with us.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
Call 855-227-0286. That's 855-227-0286. Call us right now.
Welcome back here. I want to talk a little NBA stuff with producer Tony. Tony, you and I enjoy this segment every day because this is like what we used to do around the water cooler at CNN Sports back in the day, right? I mean, we'd get together and there's a story, and before you know it, we're right there with the cabinets. Back then, this is back before the internet, right? And so there's the cabinets with all the media guides in it, and we would just start pontificating. The Lakers and Walker Kessler. Look, I know that they're trying to. There's no replacing a LeBron James. They've got to move on to the next thing. But you were saying, not quite sold that Walker Kessler is the guy to make this happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're any better now than they were, after being eliminated by the Thunder, in the second round of the playoffs. In fact, I think they're worse. I mean, you've gone out and taken that money Yeah, you added Quentin Grimes. Yeah, you added Colin Sexton. Yeah, Walker Kessler's a good shot blocker. He's a really good rebounder. Maybe he'll score a little more than he has been because Luka can throw the lob up there nicely. But I don't see this team as being up there with the Rockets or the Spurs or the Thunder in the West. To me, what has happened with this team now is you're looking at a team that might be around 6, 7, or 8 out there in the West at best. And, you've only got Luka possibly for another couple of years. This dude is not going to wait around 8 years for you to build around him. He's not.
Yeah.
If it ain't there, he's going to bolt in 2 years. And now you don't have LeBron. Now you don't have Luka. Now you've traded away all your draft capital and you're looking to be a bottom feeder for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. I don't. And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, I'm a fan of Walker's. He's a fine young man. Happy for him for the contract. But I'm with you. When you look at the West and you see what other teams have done, and this is where I'm with you. Why not make a trade then in the draft to grab one of these young players? I mean, maybe you can get Mara. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe you get Lindeborg or you get somebody. You move up if you're going to have this. My question with the Lakers is, did they know LeBron was going to do this? Is this kind of they're scrambling now to say, okay, well, now we've got to try to fill when everyone else has already been planning for weeks what they're going to do, or months, I should say. I'm with you. You look at the West right now and you say, okay, well, the Spurs just won. The Thunder won it all last year. The Rockets are right there. T-Wolves think they've got something if Anthony Edwards stays healthy.
Nikola Jokic is still with Denver.
I
mean,
there's 5 teams right there right away.
Right.
They're going to be vying for the top 4 slots in the West. And you're nowhere close to. And then wherever LeBron lands, that team will be elevated, even though he's almost 42 years old.
Exactly. And I just don't see this as, like I said, I don't see the Lakers, as improving this team. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe JJ Redick has got some magic sauce that we don't know about. And he can coach his butt off. And he coaches these guys for some defense. Because what I see right now, Larry, is I see 4 guys carrying Matador capes all around Walker Kessler. And at some point he's going to get tired of the Bulls rushing at him going, somebody help me. Anybody at all. What do you say here, fellas? I mean,
that's right.
Look, Austin Reeves couldn't guard me on a good day. So, that's a big hole to fill.
Well, you're pretty tough to guard. So someone who's guarded you in church basketball on the weekend afternoons. No question about that. Meanwhile, Boston, the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown era ends up there in Boston. Boy, just a couple of years ago, it looked like they were the ones that were really set for the future with all their draft picks and the 2 young superstars. How things have changed up in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, was this a rebound move for not getting Antetokounmpo from Milwaukee? If it is, I don't think you passed the test, Boston, because that's just another team. These are the 2 bell cows of the NBA, right? The Lakers, the Celtics. You throw in the Bulls. I understand the Knicks and all that. They won the 1 championship in the last 53 years. But these are the 3 franchises that really are the bell cows of the league. Say what you want. And I think Boston just took 2 big steps back. I mean, I know they overachieved this year not having Jason Tatum, and now you're going to have him back hopefully for the whole season and fully ready to go. But I'm not sure that this team is better as they sit right now than they were at the end of the season. And look, Philly's making some interesting moves. The East could be quite the race next year with Kawhi back in Toronto, with the Sixers making moves, with the Knicks coming back. The Pistons are still good. Cleveland's still good. It's going to be interesting there in the East. Could it be possible that we see the Lakers and the Celtics both in playoff games next year? Play-in games? Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, there's no question. It's going to be interesting to see. And who would have thought, as we close out the show, that before the 4th of July, we'd see Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Jaylen Brown, all moving to brand new teams. Now, LeBron, we don't know destination yet, but we know he's not going to be with the Lakers. It's going to be a busy free agent period already. It's been crazy. And again, we still don't know where LeBron is going to land. Hey, that's it for our show for today. We appreciate Jasmyn Wimbish stopping by. Also, Becca Mann as well. Appreciate you as always. It's a Sports IQ. I'm Larry Smith. Hey, for all of us here, we appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow right here on the show.
Thanks for listening to Sports IQ with Larry Smith, Monday through Friday. Continue the conversation at Sports IQ LS. We'll see you next time.